Hey everybody, this is Eric Brady with Seattle Sound Home Inspections. Doing a little siding repair today. This often comes up in home inspections because older homes have different style siding than we see today. Typically today we see fiber cement board siding on almost all levels of homes. We occasionally see LP siding as well. At least in new construction, it's almost all fiber cement siding now. Anyway, this is a 1950s era home, and it has a cedar shingle. And the difference between a shingle and a shake is a shake is thicker. These are technically shingles. It's very good siding. You know, obviously you got to keep it painted, but less sensitive than LP siding and several other types of sidings. It will stand up to a lot. This house has been here a very long time. You can see a little bit more water building up here at the sill plate than we'd otherwise like to see. We just had new gutters put on this section of the house, so that should help this rain splashback, as I call it, back onto the siding. So we just need to scrub this off. And the house is probably due for painting. But anyways, we repitched this roof a while back, and I'm still working on this project. Today we're working on the gable end. You can see the newer wood up there. In fact, a little bit older where I started. Then I went away for a season and I came back. The way this works is, I climb on up here so I can show you. I use stainless steel nails that are ring shank, and they don't back out, or they shouldn't back out. This is the ring shank here. It has little rings or lines, not like unlike a screw, except they just go around in a circle. You can't screw this in. You just nail them in. You do a line high and a line low, and the low line keeps it from curling. This particular house has a dual layer of shingle shakes, which is kind of more premium installation. You can see that the lower layer overlaps both layers below, and then there's a upper layer that hangs down a bit here, and that forms a drip edge. So any water coming down the siding will come to here and then drip off. We also added a gable vent here. We get into that another day, but it's installed in such a way that any water that gets on top of this will then drip off. Same with the lower edge. You see this flare here. It's a drip edge, and we install it behind the paper and with the shingles overlapping. Is this a completely watertight system? No, but you have to remember this is the side of the house. This is not underwater. This is a water shedding system, so we're not looking for perfection. Cedars will handle a lot of water before it starts to rot. But there's a lot of houses that are 50s, 60s, 40s out there that have this kind of siding. And anytime you have a little bit of wood rot, I have a friend right now who has similar siding on his project house, and he has some wood rot, and it got called in an inspection, and he's going to need to fix it. So anyway, the way you cut these is actually with a box cutter, believe it or not. It's helpful to have a buddy while you're doing this to keep you from going up and down the ladder. I, of course, don't have a buddy. This is a little tricky here. I'm doing the very top of the gable, and you can see I need to trim this off a little bit. So it's a little bit of a trial and error to get it just right. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I want to make it look right. I need to trim just about that much off, and then we'll nail it off. We'll continue down. It won't necessarily go all the way up here under the eaves. There's a trim board that gets installed over this when we're done. I'll probably use PVC just because I don't want to paint it. This can either be stained or painted. You'll see this on a lot of flips right now. They'll put some cedar shakes on the house to kind of dress it up, but they are usually not staining it because it looks good in its natural form. But after just a year, it starts to look like that, and eventually it will start looking black or gray, just like any older fence, cedar fence will look. So you can either use like an Olympic brand or style stain on this, oil that soaks into the water, or sorry, wow, oil that soaks into the wood, or you can just prime it and paint it. 2-in-1s work good, where a primer plus paint, but you're gonna be doing several coats here. I am a big fan of a paintbrush. I just think you're not gonna spray paint into these little grooves and get it to really adhere. If you're spraying this, you're going to be doing 5, 6, 7, 8 coats in order to get what you'd be able to do with a brush in 2 or 3 coats. So I generally like to see things done so they last, so you're not up here having a project that you spent time and money on deteriorating over time and needing to be taken care of. We like to do it the most efficient way, and believe it or not, good old-fashioned hand brush is the way to do that, and spend money on quality paint. So anyways, that's how we're doing it here. Let me just go down and I will show you. Well, I don't know if I can do that since it's a two-handed project, but I will show you at least the idea. I just have a little workbench set up here. Little saw is nice like this. I'm just using that to trim. Primarily we're using the X-Acto knife. Hold down the wood and we'll cut several swipes across here in a straight line to get it to the size we want, and then I'll go ahead and nail it off. Again, we're using stainless steel because the oils and acidity in cedar siding will cause iron nails to rust. We also use the ring shank because they back out. Now, the original nails on this house were most definitely galvanized, and they haven't gone too bad because they've been painted over time, but they here and there back out. So we see those nail pops where the nail backs out like that. Generally, we then pull that nail out, and you can replace it with a ring shank nail. I don't recommend it. Usually when a nail backs out, we then replace it with a screw. Your hole's already pre-drilled for you. Here's one that's backing out. We see this all the time in our inspections. And that's because the wood expands and contracts here because it gets a lot of water, obviously. It backs out. But rather than just nail this back in, which you can do, I'm gonna go ahead and back this out and I'll put a screw in here. So that's it. Cedar siding on older homes. You know, it's a lot of up and down the labor. It's nice to have a buddy. This is a small area. I'm just doing it as I have time. So, you know, it's up and down the ladder for me, and then, you know, I'll kick my feet up later and whatever, take some rest. So we're gonna do this side here. Let me show you where else we're working on it. There's the front here. I have a lot of stuff to do, and then if we go ahead and back up here, you can see that up there on the very gable where we pulled that ridge line across from the main roof, there's some siding that needs to be done up there. But you know, it's been this way for a year or two. It doesn't look beautiful. I want to make it look nice for the tenants, and you know, just aesthetic. We like to improve the neighborhood, so we're just doing this. We'll probably keep this house for a long time to come yet, so we just want to protect our investment. All right, that's it. Hope you guys are having a good new year, and if you know anybody who needs help with a home inspection, some home maintenance tips, whatever, put them in contact with me. Again, this is Eric Brady with Seattle Sound Home Inspections. Have a good one.